In modern university education, there is a theoretical gold standard for designing a curriculum. It is called constructive alignment. The foundational principle is that learning outcomes, teaching activities, and academic assessments should operate as a single, unified pipeline. In theory, every lecture and every seminar is calibrated to push the student toward a predetermined, measurable goal. University faculty spend countless hours refining this front-end teaching machinery. Yet, despite this massive investment in course design, the actual learning outcomes often fall flat. The breakdown occurs at the final stage of the semester. The theoretical elegance of constructive alignment hits a friction point at the final exam. Traditional assessment and the resulting backwash is the primary obstacle to course alignment. When an instructor is faced with hundreds of complex written exams, theoretical grading models are frequently abandoned. Faced with this massive bottleneck, overburdened evaluators inevitably abandon these theories and revert to the subjective, uncalibrated method of gut instinct. The systemic cost is significant. Hours of exhaustive evaluation by a subject matter expert are boiled down to a single, uninformative letter grade. The student receives that grade and is left staring at a letter that provides zero actionable data for improvement. Without an explanation of the underlying metrics, the effort spent by both the student and the teacher becomes a wasted opportunity for growth. Treating the exam as a terminal measurement severs the feedback loop that constructive alignment is designed to maintain. To fix subjective grading, most pedagogical literature points to one tool, the holistic grading rubric. But even the most widely accepted rubrics, like those detailed in foundational texts by Biggs and Tang, contain a structural flaw. This is the exact text from a standard rubric describing a B-grade essay. It mandates both broad literature review and convincing structure. Ask yourself, what happens when a student possesses brilliant logical structure but lacks factual recall of the literature? These are distinct cognitive skills, yet the standard rubric conflates them into a single score. This forces the evaluator to compromise, manually overriding the rubric and returning to subjective gut feeling. The student receives a middling grade with no clear indication of whether they struggled with writing or with reading. Traditional rubrics force subjective compromise, leaving the final grade mathematically opaque and lacking the precision necessary to guide future learning. A team led by C. Jorgensen introduced a criterion-based assessment method to engineer away this pedagogical flaw. Step 1. Discard the holistic rubric entirely and define 3 to 5 non-overlapping evaluation criteria. These criteria must be orthogonal, meaning they never overlap or bleed into one another. Under this rule, a failure in communicative language does not subtract a single point from a student's score in analytical logic. The instructor adjusts the laying by assigning maximum point values to each block to reflect the course's priorities. By isolating academic skills into discrete variables, a failure in one specific area can no longer mathematically mask a triumph in another. Step 2 involves transforming these isolated criteria into a high-resolution descriptor matrix. The x-axis is populated by exactly 4 strictly defined tiers of performance. The top 2 tiers, praise for a full score and laudable attempt for a half score, are color-coded in green and yellow. These top tiers are the only descriptions that award points toward the student's final grade. The bottom 2 tiers are mild critique and direct mistake. Here we see the core asymmetry of the model. These bottom tiers yield 0 points, but they generate specific corrective text for future learning. The rule of application is strict. An evaluator can add a 0-point mild critique to an otherwise excellent performance to guide future learning, but they must never add unearned praise to a weak performance. This asymmetrical design successfully decouples the mathematical grade from the qualitative feedback, allowing rigorous scoring without sacrificing formative critique. The practical reality of grading 200 exams is that writing bespoke feedback for every student is a physical impossibility. The Jorgensen matrix functions as a spreadsheet-based automation pipeline. Selecting these cells instantly performs 2 simultaneous actions. First, points automatically sum into a final numerical grade. Second, pre-written qualitative text from those exact cells dynamically merges into a cohesive report. By selecting precise operational definitions, the evaluator bypasses the need to type repetitive feedback. The matrix transforms the process of summative evaluation into an automated, high-resolution formative feedback generator. The immediate impact on the student is an individualized roadmap. They receive detailed metrics on exactly what skills they mastered and which require focus. Because the student sees the exact standardized descriptors the expert used, the grading process becomes transparent and fair. For the instructor, specifying what constitutes good performance before the exam forces a strict clarification of the course's learning outcomes. When the outcomes are clear and the assessment is transparent, identifying the right active learning components becomes easier. This framework proves that high-quality, individualized feedback is not constrained by large class sizes or time limits. By systematically eliminating gut instinct and automating descriptive feedback, the Jorgensen model repairs the fracture in constructive alignment, turning the final exam into a true arena for learning.